This podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors. Your San Diego County Toyota dealers. We've got what it takes. Fix Auto. Corky's Pest Control. And Lolita's Family of Restaurants.
Hey sports fans, welcome to the finals edition of Laxcast. I am Christian Pedersen. This is SFC head coach Tom DeMeo. We are here to tell you about the Division II finals. St. Augustine, the number 2 seed, taking on the number 1 seed, the Del Norte Nighthawks. Second finals in a row for Del Norte, first finals in program history for Saints. Yep. Coach, we got all sorts of little facts that we can talk about this game, but I just want to get your knee-jerk reaction. Are you excited? Are you concerned that this is going to be a blow? Where do you stand on this game right off the bat?
I'm excited. I'm excited for Saints because it's their first time, and just like us last year, it's a great experience, and it's great for where they are in the development of the program. I think Del Norte, again, we talked about it, they've scheduled some tough teams this year, and I think that's going to give them an advantage. But I'm excited that both teams, no surprises, is probably my first reaction, where both teams sort of blew out the semifinal game and played out 1 versus 2, and this is the matchup I think we've been waiting for since the first face-off of the year in D2. So I think it should be a good game.
I want to hit on a couple of the points you brought up. Strength of schedule. Del Norte this year played Poway. They beat La Jolla. They beat La Jolla Country Day. They beat Rancho Bernardo. So you're absolutely right that they have definitely they have the strength of schedule advantage on paper over Saints. That being said, they've also played Saints. Del Norte winning 7-4 back in March. On the other side, Saints, let's talk about the strength of the schedule for them. They also played La Jolla, so that's a common opponent between the two. Saints also played Cathedral, Santa Fe Christian, so they played some open division teams. Yep. Do we put any credit into numbers, into who common, into the previous matchup being a 7-4, or is it's the finals, crumple it up, throw it out the window?
Well, it's the finals, and high school kids react differently in those type of environments. And Del Norte's been there. They had a little bit of an advantage there.
They were last year's Division II runners-up. They lost to La Jolla in the championship game.
But there's also that feeling, and this was us last year, where it's your first final and the emotion, and you bring your A game, you prepare really well, and I think that's where Saints is at. I will say this about their first matchup. I think that Del Norte is missing one of their leading scorers, and that's something that could change the outcome one way or the other. But I do think Saints is poised and fired up for this matchup, it being the first time they've been there.
Interesting thing to bring up about Saints, because sometimes you got to just dig into the numbers because that's the only thing you have to get yourself ready for the game. Last 5 wins, Saints has scored 10 or more. That's a pretty hot hand to be riding going into the finals. Del Norte, they have, I'm not going to necessarily say struggled, but they haven't put up those kinds of numbers. Do you have anything that you would say, I like that Saints has been putting those up? They're playing the hot hand. They have the edge here, or is it still Del Norte has that slight edge because they're the number 1 seed?
It's going to come down to matchups in the end and how these two teams match up. And I think they do match up well. And I think, Del Norte could be a team, if they win this, you could be talking about they could be an open team next year. I mean, they're in that mix and playing La Jolla this year, who's in the finals of D1. So, I mean, this one's going to be interesting for the future, how it plays out. But I think Del Norte has a slight advantage. But I also, because Saints has finished the season so strong, they had a great game against us. They were beating us in the 4th quarter at one point. And so I think it's going to play out to be a close game.
I want to say that you're absolutely right about this being a game with huge cards for the future. Del Norte, their 2nd straight game. They have I'm very glad you brought up La Jolla because they have a lot of smacks of La Jolla who they lost to last year. Then La Jolla goes on to flirt with open division, ends up being in the D1 finals, which we'll talk about in our next video. Del Norte, you're right there. They have that potential. But Saints, young and athletic. We saw in their game against Canyon Crest to get here, they basically stopped Canyon Crest's ability to advance the ball onto offense, and that had a lot more to do with just athleticism than anything else. So absolutely, you're right that this game is evenly matched, and it's evenly matched for a lot of reasons that maybe you don't see in the other games. And this is evenly matched just because of raw talent and ability to fight over controlling the ball.
Absolutely. And Saints, one thing about Saints is the majority of their top players are juniors. So they are a fairly young team. And that's why, we talk about next year, regardless of what happens in this game, they improve next year. And they are athletic, which is huge. And we talk about that almost every week. So, yeah, I think it'll be a great D2 final.
Last question. Do you give more credit to experience? The Del Norte players, they've been in a championship game before. They know how to pace themselves mentally for the practices leading up to and everything. Or do you give credit to just youthful, blind exuberance like Saints has with just they have no idea what this experience is like. They want to go and just knock down walls and win titles. You've been in this situation before. Where would you fall on which would you prefer?
It's a balance. I think for the kids, you just want them to be excited and emotional and not let it get to them, and the coaches have to react in the same way. But I think I like emotion, so I go with being that Saints. I think you can call them the underdog, and they're going to be fired up. And I know Coach will have them fired up, and Del Norte's going to feel like they've been there, and it's going to be an interesting dynamic to the game.
That game will be happening this Saturday at San Marcos High School. 2:30 p.m. It's getting underway. Coach, thank you very much. You were actually going to be there potentially doing some play-by-play, maybe some sideline reporting.
I know I'll be there.
I will be there also, so come bug us and tell us you think we're absolutely wrong on who we think is going to win, or that you agree with us, or whatever. We will see you San Marcos Saturday, 2:30 p.m. Be there. This is going to be a great game, sports fans, and thank you for a wonderful season.